Hello everybody and welcome back to Europa, where we've been fighting an awkward war right in the middle of when we were trying to expand our armies, and it's basically over at this point. I know that it's saying minus 15 here, but as far as we're concerned, the war is pretty much done. The main problem is England is in it, but we're going to get Maghreb pieced out very soon. And Enlightenment is in our capital. That's a very big deal. So that's excellent. We do want to get one more unit of horse artillery here, and we're going to need to let our manpower rebuild a bit after all of that. We can't convert anything. Everything is already the state religion, so we're at 125% religious unity, and that's wonderful. How much of our development is in Jerusalem? 2%. Okay. So it's going to be spreading much more quickly out over this way now. Now, we have 807 admin power at this moment. We're pretty far ahead of time. So we could get ideas. Or we could try to encourage the institution spread by increasing our stability. Or we could do both. We could probably get both. So let's boost our stability here twice. We're at 479. That then allows us to grab indirect rule, reducing years of separatism by 10%. That's a big deal. So I'm very happy about that. And on, like, the next month tick, I think? Or the one after, we'll be able to get our offensive ideas maxed out. So that's going to give us 5% discipline, which is a big deal. We're going to be delighted to have 5% discipline. We lost a military leader out over here, which would delay that idea. But I'm going to take the idea first. So that seems fine. We unlocked new policies as well. So do we want to get any of those? Well, galley cost and galley combat ability is pretty okay, I guess. Sure. So that seems fine. And then we could also go for naval leader maneuver and ship durability. That will raise our policy cost to 2 diplomatic power a month. I think I'm okay with that, though. So that seems fine. We don't have any admin policies that we can put in at this point. We need to complete humanist ideas for that. But we do have a military idea that we can put in. Artillery combat ability is a pretty big deal. So let's take that. That seems good for now. So everything is looking good there. I don't think there's any problems. We do, of course, need another military leader here. A desecration of the Sabbath? I'm sure it's fine. The rabbis will get over it. Okay, so at this point, we just need... Oh, Medina left the military coalition against us. That's nice. We just need to bring these guys up and get them drilling, and then we need to get one additional military leader. Okay. Golden Horde rivaled us. Okay. That's interesting, certainly. But what I want right now, of course, is to get these guys back to drilling as soon as possible. A lot of these cannon aren't nearly as drilled as I want them to be. I want them to be at basically maximum drill. So that'll be a good thing. We're losing our great power status. This is probably because we haven't adopted the institution yet. Yeah, almost certainly. So that's understood. What I want to do is I want to roll up a general. Oh, this is only 25. That's cheap. Beautiful. And good shock pips, too. So that's excellent. We'll get those drilling, and then I want to check in on the status of our institution spread. So as we can see here, it is beginning to spread in a lot of places. Ooh, goods or a harvest failure. That's unfortunate. What is a siege? Oh, rebels. Well, these guys aren't drilling. Let's just have them hop on over there. So these are peasants, specifically. And we're just going to hop over here and fight them. There we go. They're stack wiped. And we'll just get this capped right on back. We've got it taken care of. Portugal, France, you guys don't need to be here. And we're going to head on back. What is our war contribution at this point? 32%? I mean, that's pretty decent. 50 admin power. Ooh. Yeah, I'm going to take the admin here. We might get territory out of this, but it's pretty unlikely. We also just gained another 50 admin power. That's very convenient because we can put it into humanist ideas. So that sounds good. Oh, we can build another university. We should probably do so. Merchants gain 2% of land in exchange for 2 base tax. I'll allow it. That seems good. So that's absolutely wonderful for now, and we're just kind of waiting for this war to end. That's kind of the goal at this point. We could start up another war, but we're very, very close to being able to get enlightenment now. But we're going to need money for that. We also just lost our military leader up over here. So that's going to cost us some military power. That's understood. That was good maneuver. And we'll get these guys drilling for now. 52 is not the correct size, is it? This is currently 71 to 76. Yeah, we need ducats for that, though. We're being pulled in multiple directions on our ducats. I'm currently thinking about just mothballing all of our forts. Are we going to use them anymore? Probably not. So let's hop into our military tab here, and let's just mothball all of our forts. That'll save us some money. We're also over our land force limit by more than I expected to be. That's interesting. I expected to be very close to the land force limit. So that's certainly noted. We have good autonomy out over in these areas, so that's not an issue. I think generally our autonomy is good. We can look at the local autonomy map mode, and yeah, our autonomy is fine. So that's not going to be an issue. We could put money into getting land force limit. So in order to do that, we'd be getting, like, regimental camps. Well, really conscription centers is what we'd be getting. And that would be about 400 ducats per 2 land force limit. So we need what? 15, 19 land force limit? So we'd need essentially 10 of those. That'd be about 4,000 ducats. That's a lot of money. That is money that we could put towards enlightenment, for sure. So we could also grab ecumenism, and I wouldn't mind doing that. But none of this is all that relevant. So for the moment, I think we'll hold off on that. I want to check in on institution spread. 62. Okay, 6,200 ducats. We're only making 30 ducats per month right now. We could... I'll accept the unrest. That's okay. Unrest is not an issue. So I would definitely like to embrace this. We are going to see how long until Rome gets it. We should be in here. There we go. So it's only at 33% in Rome. That's a little surprising. It's mostly spreading from our capital. And it's spreading fast out over here. So that seems reasonable. How much would we get if we sold titles? 2,500 ducats. Okay, I've got a lot of things that I want to spend money on right now. That's the thing. So we can't seize land when we're at war, and this war is probably going to keep going for a while. That said, these sieges are going to be over soon. At which point, we expect Maghreb to be fully occupied, right? Except for, like, this out over here, I suppose. Do they have colonies? Not really. England kind of took over all of North America. Oh, okay. 50 more admin power. Ooh. Sure, we'll take that. So that sounds good. The HRE left the military coalition against us. That's a big deal. I'm actually surprised that the coalition didn't entirely fall apart after that. Interesting. Cairo is still in it. Syria is still in it. That's unfortunate. And Demont we have a truce with. That's understood. Maghreb and Tunis are still in it. And, of course, there's Barcelona up over here. Okay. Well, who did we just peace out? Maghreb. Okay, the whole war ended. Beautiful. So, let's see. We gained 2.9 prestige, and that's it. Tunis and Syria left the military coalition against us. Fair enough. And we've got 583 ducats. Right now, I want to seize land. This is a high priority. We want to get that on cooldown right now, because I'm also going to do a sale of titles, although the amount that we're getting on that is reduced. That's interesting. Let's give it a month tick and see what happens. A bar mitzvah? No, we can't. We really can't afford this. Yeah. We really, really can't afford it. So the rabbis are angry right now, but this didn't really change. Okay, I'm going to do a sale of titles here, and that's going to give us a number of ducats. What we want to do first is we want to bring this up to 76. There we go. That's mission number 1. Mission number 2, I want to invest this money in getting more money. And what that means is we could build 2 great synagogues, which I'm going to do. But we could also build counting houses. Actually, that's a lot of counting houses. That is a lot of counting houses. But I think we might be best off to do this. Now, I'm building this in places where these are upgrades, right? So we want to sort by cost and do these where it's cheapest. So we can build a bunch of conscription centers in places where we're not going to be using up a building slot. So the idea behind this is that we want to reduce the amount that we're spending on being over our force limit. That's the idea here. So we need 2 more conscription centers. And that's it. We're just upgrading our existing barracks to conscription centers. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to get this one. Eventually, as soon as we have the money. A diplomatic insult? How rude. We're going to ease the tension, though. Mali rivaled us, and that's fine for now. I have no intention on going to war for a little bit here. I want to get a lot of investment in our economy done and a lot of construction completed. We've got a lot of ducats to spend at this moment. So that's looking fine. I'm assuming all of our armies are drilling, and yeah, we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that looks good. We're working on getting our ships up. That seems fine. And we're going to be able to get this last conscription center that we need very, very shortly here. So that's this guy right over here. I'm going to just sort by cost, and we'll get that underway immediately. So that's going to raise up our land force limit from 285 to, I don't know, close to 300. I didn't count how many that was, but it was over 10, I think. So there's a free base tax. I like it. And we can set another agenda, which we should do. The nobility is still a little sad. So let's see what we've got here. Defender of the Faith, that costs money. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do any of these, to be honest. So we need to boost up our trade power in the Ligurian Sea, at least temporarily. So let's go ahead and protect trade in... Where is the Ligurian Sea? If I can type. This is the Ligurian Sea. Okay, so what is the issue here? Israeli privateers have less than 3% of the... Okay, so we want to privateer it around Genoa. That would be 11 ducats profit privateering around Alexandria. That's definitely interesting. But let's head up over there. And let's see if that completes the mission. We have 20% or more trade power. Any country, Ligurian Sea, Israeli privateers have less than 3% of the trade power. So the issue is that our privateers need to privateer up here, right? And currently they're privateering out over here. But we could boost up our amount of heavy frigates. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to. But we'll see. So, our conscription centers are nearly completed. Fars was elected the Holy Roman Emperor again. That's going to keep happening for a while, I feel like. We made enemies with everybody, and I'm okay with that. So, that's fine. We don't really need the HRE anymore. So, that's absolutely fine. So, we're making 45 ducats a month right now, and we can start investing that money in counting houses. I also want to check in on when we would get enlightenment. For the time being, I think we're just going to let this sit because we know that we have 7 years of ahead of time. So there's that. I kind of just want to build counting houses. And these are pretty valuable to build. So we'll get those underway. No, we're not going to give you money. Get out of here. Influenza. Okay. We're getting some bad events. Do we just not have enough to privateer up here? That's a possibility. I don't suppose we could privateer with this fleet. No. We have to have light ships to do that. Okay. So that's understood. I'm still confused a little bit about what we've got going on here. Israeli privateers have less than 3% of the trade power, but that's marked off. So I don't fully understand what this is asking me to do. If we protect trade in the Genoa trade node, we make a lot more money. So if we look here at... Wait, that was Hunt Pirates. Where did they go? These guys. No, that's the brig. These guys. So if we look at privateering, we can see that the highest available here is, if we just go through this quick, there's a 13. What was this up to? Ragusa. Okay. So yeah, 13 is the highest there. And then if we go back and we protect trade, we can see that the highest is also 13 in the same trade node. So really, we should be protecting trade out over here if we wanted to boost our income as much as possible. But I don't really understand what this is asking me to do. They want to drive out the pirates and privateers. So I guess we need to hunt pirates there. Maybe that's what it's asking us to do. So do this in the Genoa trade node. And we're doing that with our heavy ships. Okay. Yep, that did it. Perfect. It wasn't very clear until I read the flavor text. There we go. So now we don't need these guys here anymore. They don't need to hunt pirates anymore. That looks good. Military access from Ancona. That seems fine. Okay. So we definitely are getting up there on our diplomatic power. There's no doubt about that. I do want to continue to work on building counting houses. These are extremely valuable for us to build. So we want to get those going, and we want to build them fast. We're making about 50 ducats per month right now, and if we look at our military, we can see we're actually below the land force limit now. That's really, really good. Oof. We're getting a lot of bad events. So that's unfortunate. We can celebrate a festival, and that looks great. And of course, we can continue to build these counting houses. Each one of these that we finish is going to be making us more and more and more money all the time. And that's fantastic. So we can now grab this diptech. I would rather not. Honestly, I would rather start getting us some vassals again and start annexing them. But for the moment, I think this will have to do. We could start thinking about maybe doing that for, say, Syria. Interesting. So we'd have to fight Al Said in Cairo. But that's not the worst thing in the world. I'm going to start building a spy network out over here on Syria. So I'd like to get Sinai taken over, maybe expand out over here. We're not going to be able to get much, we know that, but nobody's all that angry at us now. So that's looking good. We've chilled enough, I think. We can definitely start thinking about getting aggressive. We do need a new diplomatic advisor. I'm going to go for this guy for the cash. But we're going to be maxing out our diplomatic power pretty soon. So we have to keep an eye on that. We're no longer considered a great power. Yeah, that's understood. This is because we haven't embraced enlightenment. And I'm not really prioritizing that right now. One thing we could think about doing, though, is loading up on debt, which would be a weird thing to do, except we're investing the money. Specifically, what we're investing the money in is counting houses. How many more of them can we build? That's a lot. And they're all pretty good, to be honest. That's definitely pretty good. So each one of those loans would get us about 4 of them. And the first few, at least, would likely pay for the interest. But I think for now, we're going to say no to that concept. We could just go with corruption, though, and just use the free reduction from our positive stability and ahead of times. And just do this once. Only once. And just let it naturally drift down. And then use that money to invest into these counting houses. I like that idea. Why are we net negative? Oh, because we're rooting out corruption. Don't be rooting out corruption, please. We just want to be using our passive corruption reductions. So it's going to be slow to get rid of, but that gives us a bit of a leg up on getting these counting houses built and gets that snowball rolling a little bit more quickly. This is a lot of money that's on the table. And I would very much like to harvest this money. So that would be great. Now it's 1709 at this point, and infantry cost? Yeah. Okay, so this would be production efficiency. Now, this is not efficient to do these, but we don't have that much to spend it on, particularly in the diplomatic category. We can grab humanist ideas, and I'm going to work our way down this a little bit, just to there for now. We are only 6 years ahead of time in tech, so we definitely need to be working on getting some military power. That's for sure. But I want to get more counting houses built. So that looks fine. Absolutely wonderful at this moment. We could invest in more here in the humanist tree. It doesn't really matter, but I would prefer not to be behind time on admin tech. We want to be ahead of time on admin tech. So we can check in here and see how much this is going to cost us to embrace. The Age of Revolutions has begun. Okay, so that's understood. So at this point, Enlightenment is progressing, for sure. And what's the spawn of industrialization? Yeah, I don't think we're ever going to have a furnace. So that's not going to spawn in our territory. That's okay. We're going to be maxing our diplomatic power quite soon. We can keep 1340 saved. Royal marriage offer from Homs. No. Our legitimacy is actually very low. Why is it going down? Oh, discontent. Yeah, that's fine. People are spreading discontent in our territory. That's understood. So when do we want to grab this dip tech is the question we need to ask. And I think we basically have to take it. That'll mean we're ahead of time for longer. So, I mean, that's fine. We'll go ahead and grab that for now. And we can invest in a new idea. This is going to be a cultural ties idea. I think we'll hold off on that for the moment. Well, 5 years. You know what? I'll grab it. It's okay. So we have too few rivals, and I want to rival the HRE. Actually, no. I'm going to rival Maghreb. Bountiful harvest. Ooh, that's good. We just got a bunch of money. And we are, of course, going to put that into these counting houses to make us more money. And with that, it is time to put a cut in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're probably going to do some expansion in this region, which is going to be kind of central for us and is a bit of a problem. But I want to get some expansion done here, and we want to build a lot of counting houses. Look at all this money that we can make. We're going to be delighted by that. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge, STL, Rornaz, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.